If you're asking yourself how we got here, I might have some answers for you. Hi folks, I'm Paul, and this is my take. It's done. Finally. Some of you watching might feel like this. Some of you might feel like this. Some of you might be happy. I personally feel like this. It's over. But win or lose, I always think it's a good idea to see if there's anything we can learn from our experiences. I was kind of surprised with the results. I wasn't shocked. I was actually anticipating a Trump win, but I did not expect him to win this decisively. And the popular vote too? Woo! That was not on my bingo card. I don't think a right-wing presidential candidate has received the popular vote since Reagan, like 40 years ago. But if you lean to the left and you didn't see any of this coming, and you're upset by it, it might do you some good to at least consider some introspection. I'm seeing a fair amount of condemnation from the left directed at certain groups like men, Latino voters, white women, and other demographics that didn't necessarily show up to vote for Kamala Harris. And this is the wrong approach. And if you keep doing it, you're going to keep losing. I think the mature and rational response would be something like, what could we have done better? What do we promote that doesn't resonate with voters? Why does someone like Donald Trump seem to connect and relate better to average American voters? These would be some good questions to ask earnestly. And if you genuinely ask, I think you'll get some genuine answers. Like, I can speak directly as to why men didn't show up for Democrats. And the reason for that is, simply put, the left hasn't shown up for men in years. In fact, the left has actively demonized and attacked men and masculinity for as long as I can remember. And I think you're starting to maybe see some realization of that from individuals on the left. I occasionally see an article that's titled something like, "Why are young men falling behind?" So at the very least, I think they realize that it's happening and it might be a problem for them. But I reject the characterization that young men have fallen behind. They haven't fallen behind, they've been held back. For a Gen Z man, politicians, media, academia, countless other institutions have ruthlessly gone after them for their entire life. And the only time they would ever get a modicum of respect or praise was when they would actively sacrifice their masculinity for the left's agenda. Good boy, you're so well behaved because you align yourself with every belief that I have. And a lot of men are really turned off by that. Now, previous generations were a little more patient and were maybe willing to be coaxed into a more cowed position because of historic discrimination or something like that. But you can only push down the masculine spirit so much before it says, nah, I'm not doing that anymore. And if your response is, boo-hoo, wah, wah, white man is upset that he's not feeling respected, guys, you will lose again and again and again. I promise. This election should show you that. People are done being browbeaten by that kind of rhetoric. Now, as a white guy, I don't need a politician or the culture to constantly pander to me. I don't want to be celebrated, elevated, focused on more than any other individual. In a nutshell, I just want you to not hate me for what I am, leave me alone to enjoy the things that I enjoy, and don't make it difficult for me and other Americans to pursue the American dream. And after 20 years of anti-male, anti-white, anti-traditional propaganda, someone like Trump comes along and just says, hey, I don't hate you. And that's all it takes. It's true what they say about men. We're simple creatures. As for other demographics that didn't show up, I'd point out that the left has, to some degree, turned groups like moderate parents of all ethnicities into a voting bloc. And this has largely happened because of what the left chooses to promote in schools. Oh my gosh, conservatives want to ban books from elementary and middle schools. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. What books? These books. Very important, very necessary books. Oh, okay. So, they don't want kids to have Sorry guys, I'm with the cons on this one. Wait, why do you want kids to have that? You have my kids for 7 hours every day. What are you doing? Love him or hate him, Donald Trump will be remembered as a great reformer of American politics. Now, I might not like the fact that he has turned politics largely into a circus, but for the first time since maybe JFK, at the very least in my lifetime, I think politics has taken a step closer to the way the founders intended it and not farther away. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it seems like the government is going to actively pursue the interests of your everyday American and not the interests of the political machine that is Washington, D.C. We're still going to have corruption and bloat. I'm not delusional in that regard. But a healthy dose of populism, at least for right now, I think is a good thing. If you're on the left, I would encourage you to take a few days and consider a few things, like who you speak to regularly, where you live in the country, what kind of media you regularly consume. Do you understand the other side? That's probably the most important question you can ask yourself. If you don't understand who you're opposed to and why you're opposed to them, that's a problem. And you'll probably continue to lose until you figure it out. And if you're on the right, I would encourage you to do the exact same thing. Try to understand the other side and be gracious. Understand that a lot of people actually believe things like J.D. Vance is going to monitor women's periods, or they're going to round up trans people and detransition them forcibly. Understand that these people have been propagandized for decades, and they've been propagandized to believe that you are the one that's been propagandized. That doesn't mean you need to rebuild bridges or become best pals with someone who has destroyed a relationship over this kind of thing. But it would do us all some good to take a breath, evaluate what's really going on, and do our best to seek out the truth above all things and understand the truth and each other as best that we can. I, for one, am glad that election season is over. It's always an interesting time, but it was getting exhausting. Hopefully I can make a video based on something cultural for a change in the near future. We'll see. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for sticking with me in this new location. I'm on the road, so I might sound a little echoey. If you have thoughts of your own, please share them in the comments below. I'm always interested in a variety of opinions and perspectives. If you enjoy my content, please drop a like and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time.